The first match of Battle at the Barracks 13 between Mark Suciu and Chris Cole is the longest opening battle of any season at 125 turns, beating out second place Season 8's 83-turn opening battle between Moose and Chris Cole by a whopping 42 turns. A 125-turn game of skate is the fourth longest in Battle at the Barracks history, behind Moose and PJ's 130-turn Season 6 Round 3 match, Malto and Chris Colburn's 140-turn Season 10 Round 2 match, and if you count Legion of Doom battles, PJ and Chris Roberts' squad still lead the all-time longest battle list at 145 turns from Season 10 Round 1. Mark Suciu is a fresh face to YouTube's favorite flat ground contest, while Chris Cole has become one of only two competitors who have given 10 years of service to Battle at the Barracks, alongside Eric Costin, with Cole appearing in every season except the 1st, 9th, and 11th. As far as overall match difficulty goes for a season opener, Suciu and Cole's battle ranks 5th with an average trick consistency rate of nearly 75%, which is a relatively easy opening battle compared to any other season opener that also features Chris Cole. When he battled Billy Marks in the 5th installment, that match required an average trick difficulty of 67.38% on average for Cole to emerge victorious. So not only has Chris Cole surpassed a decade worth of Battle at the Barracks appearances, but he's also been featured in a season opening battle 50% of the time, introducing seasons 2, 3, 5, 8, and now 13. The hardest trick attempted in Mark and Chris's season 13 match would end up being the 36.84% successful Blizzard Flip, known by the technical name of a backside 360-degree kickflip, and funnily enough, both Cole and Suciu landed the damn thing. Blizzard flips have been attempted 38 times in Battle at the Barracks, and only landed 14 times. Chris Cole is the first skater to introduce the trick in Season 2 Round 2 against Dennis Buznitz, the latter of whom is one of now 5 skaters to successfully defend, with the other 3 defenders, besides Suciu and Dennis, consisting of Tori Pudwill defending Shane O'Neill in Season 3's 3rd place battle, Cody Cepeda against Jocelyn in Season 11 Round 2, and Matias Del Olio against Cole in Season 12 Round 2. Suciu's defense on the Blizzard Flip looked almost as good as Aaron Cairo's. Cole did a lot of foot shuffling after landing the offensive back 3 kicky, but upon review there was no egregious toe or heel touch, unlike other glaring, nefarious offensive activity from Cole, including a toe scraping the ground on a back 3 that Felipe let slide, and maybe not as obvious but still some clear heel touching on the fakey frontside heel, and some arguably redoable pivoting on Chris's cab, which, believe it or not, is the only trick from this battle that still has a perfect 34 for 34 success rate in the tournament. Felipe could have easily been a stickler on the aforementioned redoable offensive tricks, and in Cole's defense, the 2 times Sodi even told Jesus to call the toe drag on the back 3.
Jesus, call it.
But because Gustavo most likely isn't accustomed to being addressed as the central figure of Christianity, along with Dane Berman's aloof response,
I don't think that toe touched,
and Suciu's 2 thumbs up before rolling away on defense, the restraint from calling a redo exhibited by Felipe resulted in the best possible outcome for all parties. The easiest trick missed on defense was when Chris Cole got letter A on the nearly 90% consistent big spin, and apart from Suciu getting his first letter on turn 55 from an 80% consistent half cab heel, Cole's other 2 letters are from the easiest tricks out of all the letters in the game, including the 74% consistent hard flip, a trick he's now only been able to land twice out of 9 attempts throughout the years, and the nearly 85% consistent fakie tray, which is significant considering he landed 42 other tricks that are statistically less consistent than a fakie tray, 20 tricks that are less consistent than hard flips, 7 of which were on defense, including the 70% impossible, 69% switch backside flip, 67% frontside heel flip, 59% switch big heel flip, 56% laser flip, 54% switch laser flip, and 53.6% big heel flip, the latter of which he's defended only 1 time before in Season 8's opening battle against Moose. Excluding the half cab heel, the second easiest trick Suciu missed on defense was the 73.6% consistent nollie tray, followed by the 69% switch hard flip, then the 57.6% fakie bigger flip, and finally the 54.5% 3-shove underflip death blow, a trick only Chris Cole has set on offense, and Ivan Montero and Billy Marks are the only skaters so far to defend against it. Unlike Cole, Suchu's hardest tricks that he missed on defense were pretty much the only tricks he missed overall, except for the miraculous blizzard flip we already touched on, meaning that Mark got letters on tricks that were actually hard, whereas Chris randomly missed tricks on defense that are statistically much easier than a lot more difficult tricks that he was able to defend. The length, and in many ways girth, of Mark and Chris's bulk size battle gave way for a comprehensive game that not only found both flat ground masters landing the straight 8, but apart from Mark's anomalous miss on the half cab heel, both Cole and Suchu nearly achieved something that has not yet been done in a Battle at the Barracks match, which is both skaters landing the straight 16, which is all 16 variations of the frontside and backside heel flips and kick flips in all 4 stances. Chris landed all 16, with Mark landing 15 of the 16, and this has only been done one time before, back in Season 11, Round 3, when Chris Joslin landed the straight 16, and Felipe Gustavo landed all but the switch frontside heel flip, the latter of which currently stands as the least consistent trick out of the straight 16 at under 66% out of 211 attempts. And one more detail to note is that regular frontside heel flips are the least attempted trick out of all straight 16, but has the second lowest consistency after switch frontside heel flips at 67% out of only 116 attempts. On the other end of the straight 16 consistency spectrum, half cab kickflips are landed the most frequently at 83.64% out of 324 attempts, but it's nollie backside heel flips that have been attempted the most out of all the straight 16 maneuvers, ranking third most consistent after frontside kickflips at 81% out of 537 attempts.
Damn, son.
Hold up.
Perhaps the most uniquely impressive stat of Mark and Chris's match is that it's the only battle in 13 seasons so far to include a big spin heel flip landed on both offense and defense in all 4 stances, with Chris setting the nollie version and Rick flip, aka fakie version, on offense, and Mark later setting the trick in regular stance and switch stance. The second closest to a perfect offensive and defensive sweep of the 4 big heels was in Season 12's Malto versus Tori Pudwell battle, with Malto setting and landing all 4 big heels, and Tori only missing the Rick flip. Looking at the current Season 13 bracket, the Barracks was smart to include 40% of the roster that's given them battles with 1 million or more views, and nearly 60% of the skaters that have competed in matches with 2 million or more views. Notable missing names on the bracket include Moose, Nyjah, P-Rod, and Chris Chan, with Moose probably being the biggest name that would have made for an interesting return, considering he's actively uploading current skate vlogs on YouTube. Looking ahead at the rest of the games, we're already 4 battles into the current season, with the 4 completed matches coming exclusively from the left side of the bracket. The 13th season is sponsored by Cariuma and Primitive, and it's no secret that skaters from both companies are present in this bracket, but nothing overwhelmingly suspicious is present upon review. 6 of the 32 skaters are known Cariuma team riders, including Cody and Levi, who have already won their battles, Gustavo Ribeiro, Luan, and Lucas, as well as Tyler Peterson. Carlos, who's already won his first round, is the only remaining Primitive rider left in the bracket now that Felipe is eliminated, leaving the 24 other skaters more or less riding for companies unaffiliated with Cariuma and Primitive. One entire second round battle is already set, with Carlos and Chris Cole scheduled to compete. Elo figures surprisingly only give Chris Cole a slight edge over Carlos in a simulated match, thanks to Cole's string of 3 consecutive losses in a very messy Season 12. So instead of using arguably tainted stats to predict the outcome, another approach that can be applied in general to the entire bracket is incentive for progressing. It's also worth keeping in mind that since Season 7, there are 7 skaters still alive in the current bracket that have been to finals night. And apart from Tyler Peterson, 6 of those 7 are former champions, Chris Cole being one, as well as Cody Cepeda, Luan, Seva, Jamie, and Jocelyn. Factoring in past championship status, it seems likely that Chris Cole will emerge victorious in his second round game against Carlos, and given Ribeiro allegedly threw his match against Cody last season, it's hard to envision Carlos caring enough to compete for a spot in finals night. Cody is looking to face the winner of Louis versus Curran, and based on the fact that I've never really seen any flat ground chops from Curran, on top of Louis having experience, most of which is unfortunately losing, I'll still put Louis as the contender for Cody in round 2. From my perspective, it doesn't matter whether it's Louis or Curran who faces Cody because Cepeda can always double flip on to round 3 if needed, where he will likely face Chris Cole. A Chris Cole versus Cody Cepeda match has never happened before, which could be even better than the Suchu versus Cole battle we just witnessed. And even when considering things like last-minute dropouts or injuries, a Cole versus Cepeda battle seems as reliable to take place out of any game in the tournament, considering both skaters' loyal history with the Barracks, not to mention Cody's Cariuma affiliation. Cody's last appearance at finals night was in Season 8, and apart from back in Season 2 when he won the whole damn thing, Cole has only shown up to finals night one time last year as a favor and actually didn't qualify, which makes their hypothetical matchup even more intriguing. So after mentally flipping a coin, I chose Cody to appear in finals after beating Chris in round 3. Gustavo Ribeiro is a great technical contest skater and a Cariuma rider, but Nick Holt beat Prime PJ in Season 7 round 1. End of discussion. Nick Holt goes to round 2. Andy Anderson will be the Mike Vallely of Season 13, and judging by his contest performances and the mono-a-mono appearance, Tori will be a good sport about letting Andy act all unique, but ultimately it'll be Pudwill who will win. At least that's what I hope. A simulated round 2 battle of Nick Holt versus Tori Pudwill initially made me think Nick Holt would win, but after reviewing their trick portfolios, Tori's landed 23 more unique tricks than Nick Holt throughout the years, with Pudwill landing 70 compared to Holt's 47. And while the average trick difficulty of Tori's 70 tricks are about 4% easier than Nick's, the latter of whom sits just under 75%, something tells me the old man strength mentality will come into play that we've already seen from Chris Cole, and therefore I think Tori will be in round 3. That old man strength will probably stop at round 3 for Tori, because the young and hungry newcomers who scrapped their way through the hard-to-follow Fight Night series are exactly that, furiously flicking their way in the hopes of getting on the community's radar. But to be honest, at first I assumed Levi was going to easily handle a win with Felipe in the first round. But after he missed the 82% consistent varial heel flip on defense, it could be a very close hypothetical round 2, assuming fellow Fight Night Next Gen skater John from Thailand beats TJ Rogers. So if Pudwill beats Nick Holt and faces one of the two Fight Night skaters, the Cariuma bias leads me to pick Levi winning round 3, making it to finals, and facing Cody Cepeda. My guess is that the former champ Luan will wipe the floor with fellow Brazilian Lucas Rebelo, and the hot new American contest rookie Braden will leave street skater Leo Romero in the dust, which translates to Luan picking apart Hoban in round 2. The promo trailer for the 13th season shows pre-recorded footage of Johnny versus Zach with no letters on the board, so there's nothing really that gives away much else other than they're going head-to-head. Zach Doling is another Fight Night Next Gen scrapper who clearly wants to do well in Battle at the Barracks, so much so that I think he'll beat Johnny Geiger. Johnny is 0 for 2 on round 1 performances in the tournament, and his lack of interest in appearing in contests in general suggests Geiger isn't as much of a competitor as Zach, even though Johnny is undoubtedly one of the best flat ground skaters to walk among us mere muggles. Seva versus Jamie in the first round is a pretty brutal 1-seed versus 1-seed matchup, but this will be their first head-to-head as they missed each other in the last season. Jamie is the reigning Battle of the Barracks champion, and he's a monster, but Seva is kind of even more of a monster, if not the biggest flat ground monster to ever compete in the tournament. While both Jamie and Seva are competitive in these flat ground scenarios, Seva's experience is too impressive to ignore, which leads me to believe the returning champ will lose in the first round. And Seva will barrel his way to his 6th straight finals night, meaning he'll beat Luan in round 3. Unless Malto's been sharpening his flat ground chops, 2020 Sodi Mason Silva will manhandle Sean in round 1. And perhaps the most bloodthirsty skater on this bracket, Tyler Peterson, will not only breeze through Patrick in round 1, but will also do the same in round 2 against a hypothetical Tyler versus Mason match, waiting patiently for his round 3 battle competitor. Former champ and one-time runner-up Chris Joslin likely beats David Reyes in round 1. On paper, Berger wins round 1 fairly easily, but will fall to Joslin in round 2, making for another hypothetically super exciting Tyler Peterson versus Chris Joslin round 3 battle. A Tyler Peterson versus Chris Joslin matchup could be one of the best battles in the whole tournament. Joslin's tournament experience, former champ status, and his new beard are going to be a lot for Tyler to handle. But Peterson's got fresh moves like the 47% forward flip, as well as an understanding of the hardest tricks in the contest like the 40% nollie frontside inward heel flip. The numbers do say that Joslin would win in terms of harder tricks landed versus Tyler, but Tyler's will to win mixed with some Cariuma magic could definitely find Peterson at finals night. Tyler already beat Seva last year at finals night, and I think the same thing will happen this year. Seva won season 8, but hasn't been able to win since, and Tyler has a bitter taste in his mouth that he needs to rinse out, so I see Tyler in the championship battle. A Levi and Cody Cepeda finals battle is a huge question mark, because for one, Levi might not even be the guy who gets to finals, and two, Levi's only completed 1 match so far, and all we've seen is a trade double as far as hard tricks. Cody hasn't been to the finals since season 8 and lost to Shane, but Cepeda's bag is so lethal, and the fact that he's a former champ influences me to pick him going against Tyler in a hypothetical championship. So in a simulated third-place battle, Seva maybe beats Levi or whatever, but ultimately Tyler Peterson and his Cariuma sponsorship will carry him to a Season 13 title over Cody Cepeda or whoever ends up battling Tyler.